Hey, what's up, everyone? Tristan from Florida Moto Talk here. I'm going to go ahead and assume if you're watching this that you know who Ken Hill is and would like me to shut up immediately, so I'll keep this short and sweet. Florida Moto Talk is not sponsored by Ken, nor did I pay for this quick dive into my track data. Ken is just a really good dude that wants everyone to have safe fun at the track, which happens to align with what John, myself, and our guests believe in. He reached out to me after I made some consistent improvements and graciously offered some of his time to help me make the next step. He would, however, like everyone to know that affordable coaching is available and dramatically shortcuts the learning process and will likely save you a lot of money in track time and maybe even crashes. And I think you'll agree after watching this video. His normal coaching reviews are $200 to $250 and include not only looking at your data, but also your track footage. They typically run about an hour long and kind of turn into a mini school. Be sure to check out his Substack that has free and paid tiers at khcoaching.com and Blaze Coaching at blaze.io. That's BLAYZE.io. Links will be in the description. Huge shout out to Ken for taking the time to help this slow guy get better. Now let's get to the man himself and the real reason why you're here.
Kristen, Ken Hill. Hope all is well. Yeah, so I think everybody really deserves a chance to get some professional coaching. And yeah, everybody thinks, oh my gosh, I got to hire a coach. It's super expensive. And yeah, I am expensive. But yeah, there's a lot of other ways to get professional coaching. And one of the things that I started doing almost a decade ago was online coaching like this. Then about 4 or 5 years ago, I started working with the Blaze platform on really doing, professional online coaching. And it's funny, we invest so much in the sport. There's time and money, and for really a relatively small amount of money, you can get a massive amount done by having your data analyzed or even your video analyzed. So here we go. This is pretty informal, right? So I'm just sitting here working on some other stuff, and your email came in. So yeah, a little bit more of an informal review than I normally would do, but yeah, let's get after it. Okay, so what I've basically done is, or the way this works is two ways, or one way. We're going to look at two different reference laps, though. So what we'll do is I'll take your data and I'll line it up against what I would consider to be, good, clean data from one of my trusted sources, whether it's myself or whether it's one of my instructors or racers or whatever it might be. But it's data that I can rely on, that I can go, okay, their apexes are good, their slow points are good, um, that type of a thing. In this case, I'm going to compare yours to two different laps. One is one of my instructors riding my own personal bike, my Triumph Street Triple. And this was basically his first laps getting used to the bike. And he ended up doing, I think, a low 28 or something like that on it at Jennings a couple weeks ago. And I want to stair step you, right? So if you want to get into the low 20s or even the teens, we want to stair step you. If I compare your data to, say, Hayden Gillum or CJ LaRoche, going in the mid teens, it doesn't, it's hard for you to go, okay, well, how do I get to that point? So we'll stair step it for you. So the first one that we're looking at here is a lap with my instructor on my street triple. And when we first look at this data, so let me explain to you how this works. Is you're actually red, the instructor on this particular bike, this lap again, first session on a bike he doesn't know, is in the black. And so we have to look and say, okay, well, where is the time? Where does it look like? So this is just GPS speed, of course. Down here is the time delta. So you're actually faster than his whatever 28 low. You're faster than him up to turn 5, and then you lose out on the time. So what we'll look at some very specific things, which I'll take you through. Plus, if I was sitting there working with you that day, where would be the one area that we would concentrate on that would be the biggest improvement in your lap time, as well as safety. So let me take you through that as well. So you are red, he's black. When we take a look at this, you can see that the first thing that I look at is down here at the slow points, right? And it's really basically, where are the slow points and what is the shape of the slow points? That tells me how your bike placement is and then what you're doing in that corner. So what we want to see is these nice crisp V's. And so slowing down to the slow point, getting away from the slow point. Here, your turn one looks fantastic, right? So beautiful turn one. You actually have more min speed than he does. And yeah, you lose a little bit off the exit, which I have a feeling when we look at the other corners, we can talk about why. But yeah, you've got a really strong exit off of there. You're fast through two, carry good speed into three. So honestly, that's not an area that I would pick out first as an area that I would want to that I would concentrate on working on. But now when we get down here towards five, what's happening here is you come into three, carry good speed through, and compared to this lap with my instructor, what this tells me is, yeah, I mean, for him, this is not a perfect lap on my bike. He's riding it for the first time, getting used to it. But again, I trust that he's being deliberate with his slow points. He's deliberate with his bike placement that he can build into. And what this tells me is you're actually carrying way more mid corner speed than he is, but your bike is not quite pointed correctly because here you accelerate and then pause your acceleration and then go back to it. So your first loss of time here is where the bike just isn't pointed as well as it could be. Good speed through seven. Honestly, your eight looks great. You're not getting into nine. You're not using the brakes as well as he is in the nine, carrying more mid corner speed. And then here you can kind of see it starts to fall apart a little bit, right? Your direction is late. Your slow points are late. Your slow point is late. Slow point is actually slower and later. So if you're to the right of his graph, that just tells me your process is late, right? You're not getting the bike slowed and pointed, and you're not using the reference of bike placement as your number one indicator. Really good drive off of 10 through 11, but you can see a lot of time in 12, and you'll really see that on the next graph. A lot of time in 12, and then massive amount of time here in 13, 14. So if you're looking for that magic 29, all I would heck, if all you did was work on 12 and 13 and 14, you would go high 28. No problem. Left everything the same and just worked on that. You would easily go a high 28. And it wouldn't be that difficult, right? This here to me, what I'm seeing here is how you're using your eyes, where you're turning in, where you're seeing your eyes on the exits here, and you can actually see it. I'm not sure if I have that exact graph up. Yeah, I do actually. Um, so one of the nice things about RS3 is with RS3, you get actually, look at the GPS lines. They're not perfect, but they're close. Here you decelerate, but you're carrying a lot more speed. And you can see that here, your bike runs wide here, and then you just don't ever really get it pointed. And because you don't get it pointed, right, the acceleration comes late. And yeah, you're like a scared. Yeah, you're basically scared to accelerate because the bike's not in the right spot. So when I look at this initial graph, right, how to get you into the 28s and 27s, we would really double down on thinking about where the bike needs to be slowed and pointed. We'd be looking at some reference points and then having you think about using the brakes more efficiently to help the bike slow and turn. And if you did that, no factor, absolutely no factor getting you a quicker lap time, but more importantly, a safer lap time, because this is going to bite you in the ass, right? You're trying to accelerate with no direction, right? Trying to accelerate with no direction, that's going to bite you in the ass. So, all right, now let's look at, okay, great. What you're like, okay, that's wonderful, Ken, but now I want to go faster than that. I want to go 22s. What do I do? So here's actually the same rider. This time he's on his own. He's on his own personal bike, which is a stock R6, bone stock R6. And you can, when we go through this, you can start to see, yeah, now he's on a little bit more of a racier bike than a stock Triumph Street Triple. So now we start to see some really big gaps. Where does it take to get to be a 22? And first we look at slow points, right? Now you start to see he's got a little bit more of a race bike. His slow pointed one is earlier, and he gets it pointed in driving. And then you can see that's the same shape of turn two, but your slow point is late in two. You're braking about the same place for three, and you carry actually very, very good speed down into three. But yeah, this turn five area is a problem, right? So here you're trying to accelerate with no direction and you have to back off the acceleration and then you never get the speed into it. So yeah, when we look at 5 to 6, a lot of opportunity there. 7, you're fast in. But yeah, now we're late. We're late on direction in 8, 9, and 10. And then you're actually, sorry, 7, 8, 9. No, yeah, sorry, 8, 9, 10. And then here you're actually going too fast, not to get the bike pointed. And then now you really see the gap here, big gap here in 12 and 13, 14. When I looked at it compared to his 22, you lost over 3 seconds, 3.5 seconds in that area. Huge amount of time that you lost right there. So overall, the picture is you've got to double down on where the bike should be placed to accelerate. That's our central point of reference. If you go to my Substack, I've got articles on this. This is why we use this is the first fundamental, right? Bike placement. Got to get that nailed down. Second one is really thinking about some of your references, right? Looking at turn-in references, where brake release references are, exit references. In 12, I can tell you right now, when I see this, it's because you don't have a lack of visual references, right? You're like, holy shit, this is fast. I don't know what to do. Yeah, exactly. So having a good place to roll off the throttle, having a good place to turn in, and then really more importantly, where to pick your eyes up on the exit. Just that one corner alone is over a second, 1 second in 12. And then, yeah, here you're just trying to get into 13 too quickly. And by the time you get in there, you have to overslow because the thing's not pointed. And then you're just losing a massive amount of time in there. So yeah, there you go. There's kind of an informal review for you, and kind of an order in how I would look at things. But yeah, I mean, yeah, this isn't a skill issue. This is just a fundamentals and discipline issue. I mean, based on what I'm seeing, I mean, your bike is not slow. I mean, if you look at if you look at the speed of your bike compared to the stock R6, right? I mean, you're matching it there for sure. You're actually a little bit quicker than here. So, yeah, I mean, just looking at that, I think you've got a very capable. Your bike looks very capable. Um, I think there's just a massive amount of opportunity there. So there's a very quick review for you, but yeah, I mean, tons. I mean, lots to work on, but lots of opportunity. And the whole idea of this is I wanted you to see. I really do believe you can do this. But it's having the right evaluation, right? The right feedback, the right plan moving forward to doing this. Instead of just saying, "Well, I'll just man up and go faster," you're just going to end up on your head. And in your case, the trend is a little bit too quick in some of the corners, and if you keep doing that, you're going to run into a problem. So instead, we have to concentrate on where the bike needs to be placed, where that slow point is for a good exit and a good entry. And then later on, that speed can come up. So there you go.